the class. Okay, so we start now, right? Okay, so today, as I promised, I want to teach you, right? We discuss how it's actually for you to answer the paper 2, okay? Paper 2 physics, okay? For physics paper 2, so how can you answer, okay, the question? Okay, so first of all right, I will show you actually the full set, okay? The full set of example of question paper for paper 2. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, so at the front page here they will give you the formula, okay, but I'm not sure whether they will give you for SSM or what the formula, if they give, what the formula they will give. So we have to see this year, okay, for this year SPM. Alright, so this is a section A. So this is actually a structure question. Okay, structure question, and it has a 60 marks. Okay, 60 marks for section A. So this one you have to answer all the question. Okay, so you just write your answer here. Okay, and the calculation. If they have a calculation, you have to show your calculation. Okay, the formula, right, and then the unit. Okay, so this is number 1 until number 7. Okay, so a normal structure question. Okay, so for question number 8, okay, but there's a quite a difference for question number 8 for structure question. Okay, so wait for a moment. Okay, so this is question number 8. Okay, so question number 8 is about 12 marks. Okay, 12 marks. So you can see here there's a calculation. Okay, and you can see here they will ask you to choose, right? So at the end here they will ask you to choose. Okay, which one, whether you want the plate X, plate Y, plate Z. Okay, so you have to choose and you have to give a reason. Okay, so that is for question number 8. Okay, for question number 8. Okay, and then the essay part is section B. Okay, section B is essay part. Okay, so this one you can choose one. Okay, you can choose one from 2 questions. So number 9, number 10. So you can choose one. So usually for question number 9 is a form 4 chapter. For question number 10 is come from chapter 5 question, right? So you can choose whether which one you want to answer. Okay, but for section C, okay, for section C, we only got one question. Okay, we only got one question. Okay, for before this for KBSM, okay, before it changed to KSSM. Okay, for KBSM they give you 2 questions. Okay, so you still can choose. Okay, like section B also, you can choose whether you want to answer form 4 or form 5. Okay, but for section C, okay, starting from your batch, your KSSM batch, okay, then they just put one question there. Okay, so you cannot choose. You have to answer. Okay, for section C. And for section C, we don't know whether it's come from form 4 or form 5. Okay. Actually, why they did this? Because they want to differentiate, okay, for the student who are really good in physics. Okay, because they know if they put form 4 or form 5, means you only read form 4 or form 4 only, right? So let's say you are master in form 4. So means you will answer form 4 question only, then you will score. But form 5, you're not sure whether you are good or not in form 5 chapter. So they put it like that. So you cannot choose for section C. So me have to be good for form 4 and form 5. So you can answer for section C. Okay. So that's the reason. Okay. Because for physics it's easy for you to get A. Right. So they want to like make it a little hard, okay, to get A. Okay, so this is for section C. Okay, for section C, you have to choose. Okay, so I will teach you how you want to answer for this type of question, and it has a 10 marks. Okay, it has a 10 marks, so it's quite high marks. Okay, if you lose. Okay, so this is a 10 marks for table. For this one, you have to do a table. Okay, but the total mark for section B 20, section C 20. So 20 plus 20 already 40, and section A is 60. So the total mark is 100. Okay, so for those who want A, okay, for physics, for paper 1, okay, paper 1 is 40 questions, right? So make sure you got 30 above. Okay, for those who want A for paper 2, okay, they have to score like 70, 70 above. Okay, and for paper 3, it's 25 marks, I think, right? So you only get must have 20 above, but that one is a combination physics, chemistry and bio, right? I think you already know that one. Okay, so this is the full set of paper, okay, for form 4. Okay, so let's say in your test later, so this is the example of the question that I will ask. Okay, so next we move on, okay, to the slide here. Okay, right, so answering technique for paper 2. Okay, for session A, okay, so for session A is actually I just want to teach for question number 8. Okay, for question number 1 until number 7 is a normal structure question like your PT3 also for science. Okay, you just have to you put your answer in the line given. Okay, it's a normal question. Okay, but for physics, okay, there's several things that you need to remember. Okay, when you do a calculation, please don't give your answer in a fraction. Okay, I know for maths, okay, and maybe for chemistry, I'm not sure. You can leave your answer, okay, in a fraction. Okay, but in physics, no fraction. So you have to give your answer in a decimal point. Okay, so how many decimal point? So 2 or 3. Okay, and another thing, okay, you have to put the formula. Okay, when you do a calculation, you have to put the formula, right? And the comparison question, okay, normally some of you will just use a symbol, okay, but I'm not recommended that because you know that your format is already changed. So I'm afraid the way the marking paper also will be changed. Okay, maybe they will not accept symbol anymore. You have to put in the full sentence. Okay, so let's see for question number 8. So this is for section A. For number 1 and number 7, I will not discuss because I already show you, okay, how is the question be asked. Okay, so this is question number 8. Okay, so this one is actually we already learned, right? So table below show 3 types of remote control toy car and their characteristics. Okay, so they give you toy car A, B, C. Okay, so the question said, okay, based on table below, right, which toy car is the most difficult to start moving? Right, normally for one question they will ask you one topic normally, but sometimes they will mix together. Okay, so let's say for question number 1, okay, it's about the graph, the linear motion of graph. So number 1 is only about linear motion of graph. Okay, and let's see question number 2 is the impulsive force. So normally it's about impulsive force or maybe impulse. Okay, so they will not like mix 2 or 3 topics together, okay, in one question. Okay, so this is question number 8. Okay, so based on table below, which toy car is the most difficult to start moving? So what is the physics concept, okay, that we use here? Anyone? Any idea? What is the physics concept that we use here? You already learned this one. What is the physics concept that we use here for question A1? Anyone want to try? No one. Inertia. Yes, very good, Eugene. Right? Is inertia. Okay. So inertia is depend on mass. Okay. So it depend on mass. So which car that has the highest mass here?
Toy car B.
Yes, very good. Toy car B. So the answer should be toy car B. Sorry, toy car B. So you put your answer like that. Okay, and then give one reason. Okay, so give one reason why you said toy car B and state the relationship between the reason and the physics concept. Okay, so one reason why, because it has the highest mass, right? So it got the highest mass and the relationship. So how you want to describe the relationship? So usually relationship in the paper 2, if you want to put in words, okay, how you want to describe the relationship, you put the highest, or the lowest, lowest. So how is it? We show you right now. Okay, so one reason is because it has, yes, very good. We can because it has highest mass. Okay, so the relationship is the higher the mass, the higher the mass, okay, the higher the inertia. Yes, like that. Okay, can I say that mass is directly proportional to inertia? Can I say like that? Mass is directly proportional to inertia. Can I use that relationship to describe the relationship of this question for this question? Yes. Okay. So you can put like that also. So mass is directly proportional to the inertia. Also can. Okay. But you have to remember one thing. Okay. For paper 3, okay, so don't be confused. So for paper 3, if they ask you the relationship of the graph, okay, if they ask you with the relationship of the graph, you cannot put the higher the mass, the higher the inertia. You cannot put the description like that. Okay, what you have to put is directly proportional, increasing linearly or decreasing linearly. Okay, so remember that I don't want you to confuse. Later when you answer paper 3, they ask you the relationship of the graph, you will put like this. Okay, the higher the mass, the higher the inertia. No, cannot. Okay, so when you draw a graph, you have to put only three relationship that we already learned in chapter 1, that is directly proportional, increasing linearly or decreasing linearly. Okay, why only three? Because for physics we only draw for the straight line graph. Okay, we didn't draw inversely proportional now. Okay, so please remember that one. Okay, so for the next question, alright, diagram below shows Sarah is pushing a 5 kilogram box with different force on 3 types of rough surface of wooden plane P, Q, and R. Okay, so the table diagram below shows the magnitude acceleration and force applied F to push the box on each surface of wooden plane. So the first question asks you. So that's why I said you have to remember all the meanings of physics quantity. Okay. So you can see here they ask you for definition. Okay. What is the meaning of frictional force? Anyone? What is the meaning of frictional force? Anyone want to try? What does it mean by frictional force? No one? What does it mean by frictional force? Frictional force, the force that act opposite on the force applied. Force that produced was generated by two surface. Okay, so already see your answer here. Force that resists motion when the surface of one object comes in contact with the surface of another. Okay, a force that occurs when two different surfaces come in contact when moving in opposite direction. Okay, so the correct one is actually right. The frictional force is the force that act opposite to the force applied. Okay, ketiga. Okay, that one is the correct one. Okay, so the force, okay, the force that acts opposite, okay, to the direction of the force applied. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Okay, so for the next part, you have to calculate the friction force. So how you want to calculate the friction force? Okay, so let's say if I have an object, okay, and I push the object with 8 Newton. Okay, 8 Newton. Okay, and then you know the frictional force, they say the frictional force here is 2 Newton. So what is the F net here, the net force here? Anyone have idea what is the net force here? 6 Newton, yes. So the net force here is 6 Newton. Means, what does it mean here? Okay, in order for an object to move, okay, in order for an object to move, it has to overcome the frictional force first. Then it can accelerate. Okay, so I repeat again. In order for an object to move, it has to overcome the frictional force first, then it can accelerate. Okay, so means after it overcome 6 Newton, okay, you got 6 Newton, so that 6 Newton of force will be used, okay, to accelerate the object. So what equation that I can get here? Okay, so the force applied, okay, minus frictional force. Okay, frictional force, you will get the F net, right? The net force. This net force is actually equals to what? Anyone remember what is the F net? What is the formula for F net, the net force? The Newton second law. What does the Newton second law say? What is the formula for Newton second law? Newton first law is inertia. How about the Newton second law? Yes, mass time acceleration. So M E. So if I put the formula here, okay, so the force, okay, the force applied equals to frictional force, okay, and then is equals to M A, right? Okay, so what is the force applied here? So you have to see for the each table, okay, let's say for P, okay, so for the P, the force applied is 50. So I give you one example. Okay, so the force applied is 50. Okay, so you have to find the frictional force, right? So here is the frictional force you need to find. Okay, and then you have to find the F net. Okay, for the F net here, you can find because they already give you the mass here. Okay, the mass here and also the acceleration for each type of wooden plane. Okay, so you just calculate 5 times 4. Okay, so this one you get 50. Okay, so I just replace frictional force with X. Okay, so 20. Okay, so what is your frictional force? X is 30, right? So 30 Newton. Okay, are you clear? Anyone still cannot understand? Want teacher to explain again? Okay, so now I want you to calculate for wooden block, wooden plane B and also wooden plane C. And I will call anyone to answer the question. What is the frictional force for B and also for C? Okay, try to calculate first. Teacher, B, yeah. B and C is actually Q and R. Maybe I change here to A, B, C. So this one should be B, this one should be C. Okay, so I'm sure you already answered the question. So let me call someone. Chang Chui Shan. Chang Chui Shan, are you here? Yes, okay. Can you give me the answer for wooden plane B? $37.5. Are you using, what is the force that you use for B? Are you using 50 or using 40? Are you using 50 Newton or using 40 Newton? Because for plane B is 40, right? Okay, let's check whether it's correct or not. Okay, so you already put ones here. Yes, 27.5. That is correct. Okay, so 40, okay, 40 minus with, okay, frictional force. Okay, frictional force. Okay, then we get 5 times 2.5, right? So you got the answer is frictional force is equals to 27.5. Okay. So because force for 40 Newton force is actually for wooden plane A. Okay. For wooden plane B is 40. For wooden plane C is 30. Okay. So you have to read the question carefully. Okay. For number 3. Okay. Wooden plane C. We ask Lim Ziyin. Lim Ziyin. Lim Ziyin. Wooden plane C. 7.5. Okay, so 30 minus frictional force. Okay, frictional force. Okay, and then is equals to 4.5 times 5, right? So you will get frictional force is 7.5. Okay, so good. Right, so this is how you answer for calculation question, right? So we move on to the next one. So this one I told you already, right? For question number 8, you have to choose. Okay. So you have to choose, right? Determine the most suitable surface of wooden plane to build a slide at children playgrounds, and you have to give a reason. So which wooden plane that is suitable for you to choose? A, B, or C? Anyone? A, B, or C? Which one you have to choose? A, B, or C? B. B. Why? Why you have to choose B? Not too slippery and safer. Okay, so actually the correct one is C. Okay, it's not B. Okay, so the answer should be C because it has the least, okay, friction force. Okay, the lowest friction force. So you just put here C because the frictional force is the lowest. Okay, yeah. So the answer is C. Alright. And then for A, you have to state 2 modification that can be done to reduce the friction of the slide. So this one you have to give 2 ideas. Okay, how to reduce the friction of slide. So any idea how to reduce the friction of slide? Water slide, pour water. Okay, pour water. Polishing. Okay, polishing. Okay. So some of you said pour water on the slide. Okay. Add soap and water straight with straight fly. Okay, use smoother material. Okay, polishing. Okay, choose smooth surface material. Okay. Actually, for this one, okay, you can just say, okay, use smooth surface. That one is the correct one actually. Use smooth surface. Okay. So now we already said about the surface. Okay. So find any idea other than surface. What else we can use to reduce the friction? Don't give me idea about the surface anymore. Now we have to change, right? The idea. Find any idea that not related to the surface. The height. Yes. Okay. So how about the height? Should be increase or should be decrease? Make it steeper. Yes, correct. Okay. Make it steeper. Or you can say, okay, increase the height of the slide. Okay, this is actually to increase the velocity. Okay, when the velocity increase, okay, there will be this one you will learn later in form 5. Okay, so the force will be you can resolve, okay, the force to fx and fy. So the force later we will learn about that later. Okay, so that's why we increase the height of this slide. Okay, so the net force will be higher. Teacher, if I write increase the inclination or elevation of the slide, yes, good. Can. Teacher is my mind but not coming out. Okay, so that's question number 8. Okay, for number 1, 7, I will not teach. It's almost the same like this, but for number 8, it's quite different because you have to choose and you have to give a reason. And sometimes they ask you to give an idea, okay, how you want to modify certain object to make it increase the velocity, to reduce the friction, alright? So you have to think on your own that one. Okay, so when next we go to section B. Okay, section B is the essay part. Okay, mostly when I said about essay, or maybe when your teacher say, okay, this is essay part, what do you imagine? You will imagine you have to write an essay like in your personal you, in your karangan, right? Long words, you have to do the paragraph, you have to do introduction, you have to do the conclusion. Okay, but for physics, it's no. Okay, it's an essay, but we don't answer it like an essay. Okay, so how do we answer it? Okay, so for section B. So this is the example of the question. And this one is actually you already learned in form 3. Remember about the energy, the gravitational potential energy, the kinetic energy, right? So I'm sure you still remember about that. Okay. So this is the question. Okay, and let's say this is your test pad, right? Okay. So you have to read the question first. So diagram A shows the initial and final position of student sliding down a slide. Okay, diagram B shows the initial and final position of the same student sliding down the slide from a different initial position. Okay, for the first question, they ask you what is the meaning of the gravitational potential energy. Okay, so see, every question sometimes they will ask you the meaning. Okay, so means you have to remember all the meaning of the physical quantity that you learn. Okay, so for A1, okay, do you still remember what does it mean by gravitational potential energy? What is the meaning of the gravitational potential energy? Can you remember? Teacher, don't ask about the form 3. We already forgot. The energy possessed by an object when he has a greater height. Okay, not not like if I can give you mark, okay, out from 1, I can only give you half. Okay, any idea? Okay, so I'm sure that maybe because last year, we don't have, like only online class, right? Okay, so let's see. What does it mean by the energy of an object falling down from a certain height and influenced by its mass? No. Okay, it's a very short sentence. Okay, energy due to its position. That's all. Energy due to its position. Okay, energy due to its position. So doesn't matter whether it's high, okay, whether the position is high or whether the position is low. Okay, as long they still have the height, you still have the gravitational potential energy. So we just conclude that energy that due to its position. So doesn't matter whether the position is high, okay, or low, okay. So we just put, okay, the meaning like this. Okay, very simple one. Energy due to its position. Okay. So this how you answer for exam. Okay. For B, for A2. For A2, okay. So for this question, okay, actually it's 5 marks here. Usually it's 5 marks, okay. So you have to observe diagram A and diagram B. And then you have to compare the initial position of the student and the speed of the student on reaching the final position. Okay, and after that, you have to relate the speed of the student on reaching the final position with the energy gain, okay, and make a deduction on the relationship between the initial position and the energy gain. Okay, so I will underline for you, so where you can get the 4 marks. So what you have to compare and what you have to give the relationship. So the first one, you have to compare the initial position here. Okay, and second one, you have to compare the speed, right? And then the third one, you have to give a relationship between the speed, okay, and also with the energy, okay, with the energy gain, all right. And then the last mark is come from the relationship between the initial position and the energy gain. Okay, so 4 marks, all right. So for this question, what I want you to do, okay, you answer it in a point form, okay, like this. So I know that every point is actually represent 1 mark, okay, 1 mark, right? So for compare the initial position. So which one is higher, diagram A or diagram B? Diagram A. Okay, diagram A. So how you want to answer? Okay, it's like this, right? Initial position, okay, initial position for diagram A is higher, 1 mark. Okay, and then we go for the second one. That is, we have to compare the speed. Okay, so the speed put like this. So this is the second point. Right. So the second point, okay, which diagram have the higher speed? Which diagram has the highest speed? Yeah, still A. Why A? Anyone can tell me why A? If you want to explain, because of the height. Okay. So actually, when the girl is at the initial position there, so what energy that the girl possess? So she has the gravitational potential energy. Okay. And when it goes down, okay, okay, the gravitational potential energy is changed to kinetic energy. Okay, from the gravitational potential energy, when it comes down, it returns into kinetic energy. Okay, and you already learn that principal conservation of energy, right? Energy cannot be destroyed, cannot be destroyed, and it's always same, right? So here we assume that when they have a higher gravitational potential energy, so when it comes down, it also will produce the higher kinetic energy. Okay, and I think you already you still remember what is the formula for kinetic energy? Half mv square. So means when the higher kinetic energy means the velocity also will be higher. Okay. Alright, so this is actually based from the principal conservation of energy. Okay, so for now, for number two, okay, point number two. Okay, so the speed, okay, of the student, okay, on reaching final velocity, on reaching the final position is higher for diagram A. Okay, so that is for point two. Okay, now point three. So you have to relate, okay, give relationship between the speed and the energy gain. So this one you have to use the higher, the lower. Okay, so what is the relationship here? What is the relationship here? The higher the gravitational potential energy. Okay, for this one, it asks you to compare the speed and the energy gain. Okay, it's not to compare the height and also the gravitational potential energy. Okay, it asks you to relate the speed and also the energy. Okay, so what's the answer? Okay, so the answer should be the higher the speed, okay, the higher the speed, yes, the higher the energy gained by the student. Okay, so 3 marks. Okay, last point, you have to relate what? You have to relate the initial position and the energy gain. Teacher, can I say the faster the speed? Yes, also can. You can just ask if you cannot understand anything, okay? So for point number 4. So what's the answer? So I just give you the answer for this one. Okay, so the higher the initial position, the higher the energy gain. The higher, okay, the higher the initial position, okay, the higher the energy gain. Okay, so that's question for A2. Okay, so are you clear? Anything you want to ask teacher for section B, question A2 and A1 and A2. So remember for comparison question, okay, cannot be wrong for this one because this one is very easy. You just have to compare, okay, which one is higher, which one is lower. Okay, and also the meaning, okay, that one you have to remember. Teacher, can we write in point form? Yeah, like this. Just put like this. Teacher, in real exam, yes. Please answer in the point form. Okay. Because you know why I ask you to answer in point form. Okay, they say you put in long sentence, right? Okay, and you know that the pemeriksa, okay, they will mark like 200 something paper. So if you put your sentence in a long sentence, okay, I'm afraid they will not notice, okay, some of your sentence, okay. And you know now they are marking it online, right? So it will be harder for them. So we make it easy for them. Okay, we just put 1.11 marks. Okay, so they know, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I told you it's actually easy. It's not like but okay, but you cannot answer this one in chemistry and bio. Chemistry and bio cannot answer in point form. Only physics. So that's why usually when you are form 5, right, you will be confused. Okay, you be like answer for point form in chemistry and bio, then you for physics you put in essay. Okay, so now I just teach you early, so you have to differentiate. Okay, this one is only for physics. Okay, don't mix up with chemistry. Also, I know for chemistry, sometimes when you read some of the measuring instrument, you can give like point like agak-agak cannot. Okay, in physics, if you didn't reach the certain scale, you cannot give that value. You have to read below it. So later I will teach that one. Okay, yeah. So this is how you answer for A2. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay. Okay, for this part. Okay, for number 3. So for number 3, name the physics principle that explain its situation in A2. Okay, so this one, what principle? I just talked to you just now. What is the principle? What is the principle? Usually physics teacher is a very simple one. Very simple teacher. Very like, you know, we don't want like make it hard for you, right? Very simple one. Usually physics teacher is very simple teacher. But for me, the handwriting is very important. Okay. So what is the principle here? I said already, at the first, for initial position, they have the gravitational potential energy. So when it comes down, it changes to the kinetic energy. So what is the principle there? What principle that we use? Conservation of energy. So principle of conservation of energy. Okay, so that is the principle. Yeah. So we move on to the next question. Okay, for number for B1. Okay, for B1. Okay, for B1. So it says here diagram below shows a baby sleeping in a cradle. So the cradle is made to oscillate between P and Q through the equilibrium position O. Okay, you have to state the change in energy that occur when the cradle swings from P to O, then from O to Q. So anyone want to try? What is the energy? This one got two energy. We already learned form 3 also. What is the energy? B1. EPE to GPE. In exam, don't put like that, EPE, GPE. Okay, put in the long sentence. Okay, full sentence. Okay, elastic potential energy. Wow, very good. Elastic potential energy. Okay, and then change to what? To kinetic energy. Right. And then again, go back to Q, right? So you have to change again. Change to from here Q to O is elastic, goes to kinetic, and then go back to Q, go back to elastic potential energy. Yes, very good. So you just need to use the arrow. Also can. Okay, so 1 mark. Okay, for number 2. Okay, for number 2, this one you don't need to answer because this one is actually from you will learn on chapter wave. Okay, chapter wave, that is chapter 5, I think. Okay, so this one you need to answer. Okay, this one will be involved in the damping oscillation like that. Okay, the energy decrease, amplitude decrease. Teacher, isn't there gravitational potential energy because there is difference in height? Okay, for this one because they use a spring. Okay, so spring is actually they possess the elastic potential energy. Okay, so it's more to the elastic potential energy than, and you have to know that the elastic potential energy that make the baby swing, right? That make the cradle oscillate. Okay. Okay, for number 2 we skip that one because we didn't learn yet. Okay, yes, for this one. Okay, for C, question for C, okay, this one, we said diagram below shows an archer, okay, getting ready to shoot, okay, an arrow towards a target board from a far distance. When he released the arrow, he observed that the arrow falls short of the target. Okay, this you have to suggest and explain how he will able to shoot the arrow to hit the center of the target board based on the following aspect. Okay, let me remind you, okay, in exam, they will not give you all this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they will not give to you. So what we have to do, you have to think on your own. Okay, this one you have to think on your own. They will not give you anymore the strength, the elastic, the material. So they will not give you the idea. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to think on your own. How can the boy shoot the arrow? Okay, and you have to hit the center of the target board. Okay, so this one, because you are just like not familiar with the format, right? So I just give you a clue. Okay, so what you should describe. Okay, for this one you have to draw a table, right? So a table. Okay, let me draw a table. So the table have to have two columns. Okay, two columns. Okay, and 6. Okay, so this is the title for this one is a characteristic. Okay, cannot write things here. I cannot write. So if I cannot write, yes, okay, good. Okay, characteristic. Okay, this is explanation. Okay, don't put in sentence. Okay, don't put like an AC like that. No. Okay, don't put in the point form. No. Put in table. So characteristic and explanations. Okay, so we see the first one. The strength of the cord. So the strength of the cord should be higher or should be lower? Higher. Okay, so you just put here. Higher strength of cord. Or you can say high strength of cord. Okay, so what is the explanation? Why you need to have the higher strength of cord? What is the explanation? Just give any idea. Can high EPE and can be pulled back further? No. Others? Because more elastic potential energy. No. Others actually for 4M. Any idea? Or should I call someone to give answer? Hmm, better aim. No. Thinner cord. No. Quality better. No. Lindsay Shan. You have any idea why we have to use the higher strength of code? Lin Zishan. Avoid broke when pulling it. Yes, very good. Okay, or you can say it won't break easily. Very good, Shonki. Okay, next one. Okay, the elastic bow, elastic of the bow. So high elastic or low elastic? High elastic or low elastic? Yes, high. Okay, why should be high? High elastic of bow. Why it should be high? Better aim, no? No. Okay. So for this one, it's actually, it seems like the first one. It won't break easily. Okay. So you can use the same reason, this same explanation more than once, but not more than twice. So means only one, only twice, okay, you can use. Okay, for the explanation, you can use the same explanation twice. Able to sustain the stress when the cord is pulled. Okay, also can. Okay, also can. To prevent broken, yes, also can. See, if you put to prevent broken here is actually is the same meaning, right? Okay, it's the same meaning, but it's actually is considered as another explanation. Okay, so you can use the same one more than once, but not more than twice. So the maximum you can use it on is only twice. Okay, and then the next one is you have to find what is the material used for the bow. Okay, what is the material used for the bow? The material used for the bow. Any idea? So arrow can travel further. Eugene, yes, also can. High can travel further. You can say can have high and potential energy. Also can. Okay, so you can give actually the explanation. They got many answer there. For explanation, it's not only one answer that is acceptable. Okay, so it can be like 2 or 3 answers. So you can just give any answer you think is correct. Okay, then just but only one explanation. Don't give like 2 or 3 explanation here. Only one explanation for each characteristic. Okay, what I say just now is for the schema. They will give you okay a lot of explanation. So who knows? Maybe your explanation can be acceptable. Okay. Synthetic, alright. For the material, please don't put the name of the material. Okay? Don't put the name. Please don't. Okay, please don't put the name. Teacher, how about we use the rubber? No, don't put the name. Even you are so sure why I choose that material. You are so sure why that is the material used. I'm so sure, but don't put the name of the material. So what you have to put? You have to put what is the characteristic of the material that you choose. Okay. So let's say synthetic. Why you have to choose synthetic? What is the characteristic of the synthetic that make you choose? Okay, as the material. Okay, a flexible material. Yes, very good. A flexible material. Okay, a flexible material. Okay, a material that's strong and flexible. Yes, you can put strong. Okay, other flexible, strong, low density. Why low density? So it will be lighter. Okay, so for flexible and strong, you can say it can be long lasting. Okay, long lasting. So for the low density, you can have the reason is lighter. Okay, see, you can have many choice of the characteristic here. Okay, but only you put only one. Okay, this is I said for the answer. Okay, for the teacher answer, so they have a lot of choice. Okay. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Design of the arrow. So what is the design of the arrow? Anyone have idea? What's the design of the arrow? Aerodynamic or aerofoil? Aerodynamic or aerofoil? Yes, aerodynamic. Aerodynamic. Why? To reduce the air resistance. Okay, let's say in exam, you forgot the name. What is the actually aerodynamic? You forgot aerodynamic, right? So what you have to do, you can draw. You just draw, okay, you just draw arrow here. Yes, it can be acceptable also. They say you forgot about the shape of something. Okay, just draw. It can be accepted. Okay, by drawing also. Okay, the next one is how does, okay, the way the arrow is aimed at the target. So how do we aim the target? If you watch Olympic, right? So what actually they will do? How, what actually they will do? Teacher, can you repeat this? Okay. So let's say in the aerodynamic. Let's say in the Olympic, right? So before they hit the before they shoot the arrow, what they will do? They will aim first, right? So how does they aim the arrow? The bow is angled at a slightly high angle. Yes, that's correct. Good weekend. Okay, so they will lift up. Okay, lift up a little the arrow. Okay, then they will shoot. Okay, why they did that? Why they need to lift up? Why not just aim like usual and just shoot? Okay, so this one you can say slightly above the target. So what is the explanation? Why they need to do that? Okay, to overcome what force? What force that pull the arrow downward? We already learned that one. Yes, to overcome the gravitational force. Yes, very good. Okay, to overcome the gravitational force. Okay, so this is 5. So 1 mark. So you get 5, so 10 marks. Okay, but in exam, you can give more than 10. So I will choose, okay? I will choose, okay, which one is correct one. They say I have 10 idea teacher, 10 characteristic, 10 explanation. Just put 10. Okay, then the teacher will choose the correct one. Okay, so let's say you have a 7 characteristic, 7 explanation. Okay, you just give. Okay, and then I will choose which one is the correct one. Then we not deduct the marks if the answer is wrong. Okay, then we just choose only the right one. Okay, but don't give the answer in a contra answer. What does it mean by contra? Just now you said high strength of cord, right? So it won't break easily. So suddenly below here you put lower strength of cord. So it break easily. So that one is contra. That one is not acceptable. Okay, so they will mark wrong for both answer. Okay, so just give any idea that you think is correct. Okay, so just give it. Then I will choose which one is the correct one. Okay, so that is section B. So C is actually not an essay like you imagine. Okay, it's very different one. Okay, so we move on to the next one, section C. Okay, for this one I will just skip. Okay, this one actually just same like this one also. Okay, right? The meaning. Okay, for section B also this one name the force. This one is impulsive force. Okay, so how you write the answer? You just write like the one that I teach. Okay, like this. Okay, all right, and then actually I want to discuss more on this part. Okay, for B. Okay, for B, Okay, diagram shows four arrangement of filing system PQRS that being used to insert a file into the ground. Okay, so you have P, okay, this one is Q, and this one is R and S. Okay, for this one, they ask you later, they will ask you to choose, okay, which filing system, okay, is better. Okay, for this one, you have to answer in table. Okay, so again, you have to answer in table. Okay, so two column. Okay, this one should be only 5. Right. So for this one, you have to put the same also. Okay, characteristic, alright, characteristic and explanation. Characteristic, explanation. Okay, so we have to choose. Okay, for the first one, we have to choose the weight. Okay, actually this one is the mass. The mass of the pi driver. So this one you have to choose which one you want, whether high or low. Okay, so we have pi driver for P is 120. Okay, for W is, for Q is 100. For R and S 100. Okay, and S is 80. So which one do you want? The highest or the lowest? The highest 120, 100, 180 kg. So which one do you want? Which one you think is better? Which one you think is better? You know what is a piling system, right? Before they build something, they need to piling to, you need to install the pile first at the ground. Yeah, the foundation. So which one you want? Whether the highest mass or lowest mass? Just give me whether it's high or low. No need to put the number. High. Okay. High mass. Alright. So high mass. So you put the answer here. Okay. You put the answer here as high mass. Don't put high, low, no. High mass. Put what is high, what is higher, mass. Okay, put high mass. Some of you just put high, low, no. Have to put in the words high mass. Okay, why you have to put the high mass? Why you need to have the high mass? Okay, so I just give the answer. Okay, so it can produce the high impulsive force. Okay, high impulsive force. Okay, for this one, okay, don't put number. Don't put 120 kg. Okay, I know this is the highest, but don't put the value. Okay, I will explain later why you cannot put the value. Just put high or low only. Okay, high or low only. So high mass, high impulsive force. Okay, and then the next part, how about the height here? Okay, so 15, 20, 15, 20. So the height should be high or low? The height should be high or low? Low, high, low, low. Okay. The height, okay, let's see. This is the formula for velocity, right? Velocity is displacement against time, okay? So for this one, you use a height. Okay, so when the height is low, when the height is high, okay, the velocity also will be high. And we already learned the impulsive force is mv minus mu divided by t. So when the velocity high, what will happen to the impulsive force? The impulsive force also will be high. So actually the positions should be high position. High position. Okay, so what is the reason? Produce greater force. Okay, so understand now why you have to choose high position. Okay, because you have to increase the velocity. This one is actually is impulsive force. It's about the impulsive force. Okay, so the impulsive force that make the pile, okay, goes into the ground. It same like if you have a hammer and nail, right? That one is also impulsive force. Okay, the high impulsive force made the nail go deeper. So they say this one also same concept, right? So can you understand why I choose high? Are you clear now? Yes, all right. So the next one you have to choose. Okay, you have to choose the base here. Okay, how about the base? Okay, whether it should be a sharp, a pointer, or just a flat one. Sharp. Okay, so you can put here the base is sharp. Okay, sharp. Okay, this one is what? To produce the produce high pressure. Okay, high pressure. Okay, so to produce high pressure. Okay, and then the last one is you have to compare the material. So this one they made from steel. Okay, and this one they made from concrete. Okay, so which one you have to choose? Okay, steel or concrete? Steel. Okay, so we put the answer here steel. Steel. Okay, so here is because stronger. Okay, stronger. Okay, so if you calculate the marks, now only 8 marks, right? But actually this mark is this question has 10 marks. So where does the 2 marks come from? You have to choose. Okay, now we have to choose whether you want P, you want Q, you want R, or you want S. Okay, but for this one, we already choose it's not concrete, right? It should be steel. So R and S, okay, we just ignore it. So now it's between P and Q. So which one you want, P or Q? Hmm. P or Q? This one the weight is 120. Okay, but the height is higher. Okay, but this one is 100 and the height is 20. But this one they don't have a sharp one. This one they have a sharp base. Right. So the answer should be Q. Okay, so at the below here you have to put I choose Q, okay, because, okay, you have to copy back all the characteristic here because it has high mass, okay, high position of file, okay, and base is sharp and it made up from steel. Okay, so choose correct 1 mark. You copy back all the characteristic 1 mark. So you got 10 marks total. Okay, are you clear? Right, so this is how you answer for paper 2 for section B and section C. Okay, so any question you want to ask? And also for question number 12, okay, for question number 12, okay, they got one more question that is actually the calculation question. That is a 5 marks question. Okay, but that one I will not explain. Okay, because this one is actually it's not I'm teaching you. It's actually I just want you to know how is actually the paper 2. Okay, that you should answer. Okay, so later in the exam you don't have any problem. You already know how to answer. Okay, any question you want to ask teacher before I stop? No. Okay, so we have 1 week school holiday, right? After this. Okay, so and then after that the school will open. Okay, so what I want to remind you, please complete the notes and the tutorial. So once the school is open, I will collect, okay, I will collect all the notes and the tutorial, okay, and I will mark, okay, I will check whether you do it or not. Okay, and for those who still didn't take the modules, okay, and also the tutorial, please go and take. And then another one for your diagnostic test. Okay, so I already finished. Okay, I prepared the question, and there's a lot. There's a quite change of your question. Okay, so for question, structure question, no objective. Okay, for diagnostic, you have three structure questions, and one is for paper 3. You have to draw a graph. Okay, so the graph paper is already being given. Okay, so when the diagnostic paper, you can when the test, you can use the graph paper that been given. Okay, and you make sure you bring a long ruler. Okay, for drawing the graph. Okay, so that's the question that I will ask, okay, in the diagnostic test. Duration is about 1 hour. Uh, 1 hour 10 minutes. Okay, we do it on the three periods. Okay, I think 4M is on Wednesday and 4S is on Friday, right? But don't worry, okay, your question will be different set. So don't need to ask your friend, how what's the question come out? No need Okay. All right. Have chapter 1 and 2. Yes, have chapter 1 and 2. I try to cover it as much as I can. Yeah, I try to cover as much as I can. Don't worry, don't be afraid. It's not like your mid-year exam. It's just actually to know whether you understand what I teach. Okay. And that's the reason I did it. It's not because I want to know who is good, who is bad. Okay, no. I just want to know whether you can understand or not. Please give easy teacher. Easy is a SPM format. Okay, that's why I can say. I use the same format as SPM. Why? I just want you to, like, you are prepared. Okay, later when the SPM come out, the question, you don't feel shocked because this year question for paper 1 is quite hard. Paper 3 is easy, but that one is okay because you're not seeing format anymore. Okay, but for paper 2 is so like that. Okay, so that is this year question. So I don't want you to be like that. So I want you to prepare for all what can comes in your SPM next year, I think. Because this year also will be February the exam. Okay, the exam also will be on February. So I don't know how about you, maybe on February also next year. I'm not sure. Okay. So I will stop now. Okay, so let's see if I have anything. And I think I will do one extra class on school holiday. Only one, like 1 hour only. Okay, so I will tell you when is the date and also the time. Okay, so thank you class. All right, so have a good day. Okay, have a nice holiday. Okay, so make sure you do your homework. Bye. Thank you. Welcome. Bye. Yeah.